What you're about to see is a video snippet from inside the boiler room. Every single morning before the open of the US stock markets, I analyze dozens of stocks and then decide on the trades that we're going to look at for that day with dozens of traders. We all get together, execute trades, chat some, and make some money together on a Zoom conference call. Go to thepatterntrader.com/club to find out more. So you can see we've got this double bottom, here's where it always gets a little bit fun in trading, where you're trying to figure out which is the pattern that's really driving the bus here. Sometimes it doesn't matter if, the short-term pattern can give you, enough of a lift out of here. It may not be the low, but it could be a low. And it could be enough of a low to kind of give this thing a boost. So you can see on the weekly, the IGV is in this little collection area. We've got this bottom here, and it just feels like we could go at least to 295 on this run. Now, I bought some calls last week and the IGV on the bet that, we're going to still get a pop out of here. And we had a small little key reversal last week, made a new low, closed on the high. So I think, any kind of dip is a buying opportunity. I really do. And then I'm watching the monthly. How this thing closes for the month may just kind of give us the whole shooting match. We've been, talking about the prospect of a recession, the market collapse. And the thing is, we've already had this market collapse, so I keep on talking about the markets are a discounting mechanism. They pull forward. So everybody's, expecting this huge carnage, this economic collapse. Well, guess what? It's already happened. So the market, is a discounting mechanism. So we may go into a recession, but the market's already kind of thought about that and calculated and pulled forward everything. And now what I'm going to watch is very carefully how this monthly bar closes. Right now, we're closing toward the top end of this monthly bar. And you can see that, we did so in the month prior, where made a new low, close on the high. Now, if you make a new low and close at the high here, you got these two monthly bars where you kind of put a stake in the ground. I got to believe that that's a low. That may be the low. We may be now setting up for a new bull market. As bearish as I have been, look at this. Now that could just be, hey, we grabbing a foothold along this major support area, but look how these markets do that. Just out of nowhere, pulls all the way back to exactly where the support line is. It's a thing of beauty. I mean, to me, prices are religion. And so now if we do a double dig here, and certainly given the extent of this sell-off, it's very conceivable to see some energy go the other way, even if we are going to go down. This is just an area where, you've got a lot of pent-up energy. And the only thing, markets don't go down and then straight up. So this may have to kind of do some sideways. And that's why I think we may close on the high, spend first half of the month going lower, and then the second half going higher. So I always try and visualize the dance around these, unchanged areas. So that's kind of, I'm just watching this area. This is very formidable support. Things turn around, next month and, we go low. So it's just very important how we kind of oscillate around here. I think Apple is also going to be a barometer. Apple is, playing off this key uptrend line, and we'll have to see how that does. Apple seems to have stalled. They've got some supply side problems and all that garbage, but it's just watching this uptrend line in Apple. And I was skeptical it could hold, but it could hold. So you can see this uptrend line has kind of been holding Humpty Dumpty together again. And, right now it still looks like this thing is, in a beleaguered pattern here, but you know, we'll have to see. You know, do we go here or do we go there? So proverbial inflection point. So I just kind of draw my areas of interest. So we're in this big kind of, you know, triangle. It's very possible we could go there before we go there, or we could go there before we go here. So all kinds of things. We're right really in the middle of all this support and resistance. So I'm always kind of keeping one eye open on this. And right now it's just holding on this uptrend line. Everything else is broken, but Apple somehow maintained above this uptrend line. I'm also watching gold and silver, and particularly silver. I did take a long position last week. We've been talking about this. And, you know, to me, you know, charts are very dynamic. I used to look at charts very statically. Now I look at they're living, breathing beings. They move. They tell us one thing one day and another thing the other. And, you know, so this was a double top. Here was, to me, a real looking double top, head and shoulders. And when it broke here, I thought, okay, now we're gone. You know, maybe we'll retreat back here. But when it made this low, it should have kept going. If this was a real downtrend, a real bear pattern, that should have gotten going. But instead, you know, it broke below this neckline, and now we're peaking above it. So, you know, if this thing's not going to go down, it's going to do that other thing. To me, it's just that simple. And so I started buying some calls last week, and I suspect I was a little bit short-sighted. I should have bought a few more weeks out. Sometimes these things take a lot more time to develop. And I think that, again, this was a key reversal. This should put a boundary on prices, and we should start seeing prices go that way. But, you know, the more prices kind of resist what they're supposed to do, the more they're going to do that other thing. So I'm starting to get a real feeling about this play. And probably will start adding to these positions. You know, this just feels like a bit of a double bottom, a bit of a rounding bottom. You're piercing the neckline. And now you're really at the moment of truth. You know, if it's going to go higher, it should go higher. If it's going to collapse, it should collapse. So we should know pretty soon. You know, gold's the same thing. Gold, I was pretty bearish on, but it started to put like 3 weekly bars that said, you know what, I'm not going to fight this. I don't know what it means, but I certainly don't want to fight it. So you kind of had this downtrend line here that got broken. You had this channel that you've now broken out of. And you kind of have this key reversal last week. So you kind of had a breakout, a bit of a retest. And now if we start breaking above here, the 1800, this thing looks like it could levitate. So there were 3 weekly bars down here. 1, 2, 3. Each one of these bars made a new low, closing the high. Made a new low, closing the high. Did the same here. Now you have the same activity here, here, here. So all this stuff just tells you that this is a huge area of, buying. You know, every time the market wants to come down in this area, there's a lot of buying waiting for it. So now the question is, does this turn into something sustainable, or does it start crapping out? And I suspect this will start telling us a lot about interest rates. If the market starts getting a whiff that the Federal Reserve is closer to the end of its interest rate hike regime, then I think you're going to get these asset classes starting to get going again. Hey, if you would like to trade alongside me every day and join our most prestigious program, then head over to thepatterntrader.com/club for more information.